Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. Today, I wish to provide you with an overview of the December 2020 Retail Sales Index. However, before I outline the December numbers, I feel it's important to provide a full overview of some of the modest yet milestone activities that took place in the retail sector last year, particularly since we were faced with such significant challenges due to COVID-19 pandemic. Surprisingly, in spite of the roadblocks that our economy faced, there were several months during 2020 where we saw positive increases in sales. To provide some context of the role of the Department of Statistics, the public should be aware that the department collects statistics and produces a report that paints a picture of Bermuda's economy and society. In addition to conducting the Bermuda Population Housing Census, the department regularly produces publicly available reports about Bermuda's employment, environment, population and demographics, gross domestic product, information, communication, and technology in business, consumer price index, and the retail sales index. Retail sales. The retail sales is produced by the Economics Division of the Department of Statistics and is a key economic indicator used to assess the current performance of local sales activity in the retail sector. The RSI measures goods sold by retailers based on a sampling of retail stores. The RSI is considered a self-weighting index, as stores reporting a large volume of sales have a greater impact on the movement of the index than stores reporting a low level of sales activity. The purpose of the Retail Sales Index is to measure monthly and annual movements of retail sales, provide an estimated gross turnover of sales in the local retail sector, act as a barometer of change in the level of demand for both domestic and tourist markets. The Retail Sales Index is structured into 7 broad sectors: food stores, liquor stores, motor vehicle dealers, service stations, building materials, apparel stores, all other store types. Total retail sales across the 7 sectors represents roughly 70% of all retail activity on the island. On the monitor behind me, you will see a graph which shows the year-over-year percent change in the value of sales for each month in 2020. As you can see, before the pandemic, our retail sales were slightly down in January at 2.4 down, as you can see right here. In comparison to January 2019. Remember, these numbers are comparing 2020 with 2019. But there was an uptick in February and March, with 2.2, 4.3 recorded respectively, again comparative to the previous year. Particularly in March, when we announced the implementation of the health and safety protocols and the shelter-in-place guidelines, we saw steep decline in April and May RSI numbers, with negative 30.1 and negative 13.9% respectively, because all of you were locked up in your houses. There was a result of the closure of our borders, suspension of commercial flights and travel, and the closure of most businesses, hotels, retail stores, and restaurants. In June, although, the RSI numbers also saw a decrease with 4.8%. This was not as significant as the previous months. It wasn't until July that we began seeing some light at the end of the tunnel, with RSI creeping to 1.3%, as you can see right there. But then, through a phased reopening process done by the government, we had relaxed some of the COVID-19 regulations, allowed some flights to return to Bermuda, and the resumption of some business activity. And since July, Bermuda has experienced 6 consecutive months of increased retail sales activity when compared to the previous years. This bodes very well for our economy. Dollars were being spent right here at home due to the fact that residents were not traveling and they were importing goods in record numbers. Residents were taking staycations in our hotels and Airbnbs. They were spending money on building materials to conduct some home renovation and spending their dollars on big ticket items such as new cars, motorbikes, and furniture. Additionally, the streamlined process implemented by the government regarding planning application continue to encourage many building projects to start early, which has helped local businesses and the economy overall. So with a bit of background, I am pleased to offer a snapshot of the retail sector reported for December 2020. In December, the overall volume of local retail sales increased by 14.2%. That is the volume. Retail sales rose 15.3% to estimate 120.4 million. And what you see here is value. Value is the dollar spent. Volume is how many products were actually sold. So these are the value portion of it. This compares to the previous year's local retail sales, which reported a volume decrease of 4%. As I noted, the retail sales growth in December 2020 is the 6th consecutive month of increase as compared to the same month in 2019. This consistent increase in activity is good news for Bermuda's economy and many local businesses. Of the 7 retail stores, 5 sectors experienced positive growth in December 2020. This was led by the liquor stores, which experienced the largest sales volume increase of 20%. In December 2019, sales volume for liquor stores was down by, and this is 2019, was down by 6.2%. Some highlights to note. Sales for the building material store sector increased 23.1% in both volume and value terms. The growth in sales was associated with large customer projects. The all other store types sector comprised a variety of stores selling wholesale items such as furniture, appliances, electronics, pharmaceuticals, marine supplies, and tourist-related goods. And in December 2020, it showed an 18.5% increase compared to 2.1% decrease in 2019. The total selected overseas declaration increased 22.6% in December 2020 compared to December 2019. The rise in overseas declarations was influenced by more imports of clothing and pharmaceutical products by courier, as well as higher imports of clothing, machinery, appliances, electrical equipment, and furniture by sea. The motor vehicle store sales volume rose by 14% when compared to 2019 due to a greater number of cars sold. We did see some declines, however, in the December RSI. The service station sector experienced a 4% decrease. As you know, many people were working from home during the time and less probably sales or purchasing of fuel at the time. Apparel stores volume sales were down 6.3% in December, which reflects the lowest decrease month to month in the last 14 months. Let me repeat that. Apparel stores volume sales were down 6.3% in December, but this represents the lowest decrease month to month in the last 14 months when it comes to apparel stores. In closing, we recognize that the challenges of the pandemic have severely tested us as a country, but I believe that we have a resilient economy. We are seeing more encouraging activity with residents supporting our key industries and spending locally. I would like to encourage everyone, and I mean everyone, to buy as much locally as possible. And it helps to keep our people employed, it helps to create more jobs, and it helps to stimulate the economy. Thanks to the residents of Bermuda for playing a key role in revitalizing our retail stores. Again, I say thank you. And I'll take.
From the Royal Gazette, Duncan.
Minister, the second half results, as you said, 6 consecutive months of increases year over year. In speaking to some retailers a month or so ago, they were saying there's a number of reasons for that. And one is the pent-up demand, as you see, that was building while we were all, as you said, locked up at home. So my question is, do you see that the results in the second half of the year were due to pent-up demand, which will fizzle at some point, or do you think it's sustainable over the near and medium term?
Well, as I mentioned in my brief or my statement, I said that there's no doubt that residents who were in Bermuda who could not travel were buying from locally. But I also mentioned that what I like to do is encourage Bermudians, if we see these numbers taking place, to at least buy some goods in our home country. This will encourage people creating more jobs. This will create sales within the economy, and it grows the economy overall. And we would like to see it continue. So I encourage everyone in this room to go out and buy at least something.
One of the reasons, as you've quite rightly said, is that local residents have been buying. Are you also seeing an impact of the one-year residential certificate, the digital nomads who coming in and maybe they're buying a car or a bike or furniture or other goods?
There's no doubt that the individuals who have been here for 1 year, and I understand now there's about 400 individuals who are actually on island, have played a key role. The government decision to allow these one-year residents to take place and now have increased it even further. They want to stay another year. Has an impact on our economy. They buy goods and services. They rent our homes. And so they go grocery stores. Of course, they buy other products and services. I understand that some of them have bought bikes and some of them have bought cars also. So we applaud them and thank them for playing a key role. But it was a key decision by this government to make this thing happen.
Other than pent-up demand and the increased, as you say, 400 digital nomads on the island, is there any other reason to account for the increase, or do you think it's that pretty much does it?
I think there's some of the key roles, key areas. People do have to buy some goods. I mean, it hasn't stopped them from buying from Korea. As you can see, the sales for Koreans have gone up also. But when you need some things urgently, as you can see, they go down to stores. I mean, it's very hard to bring in appliances. So under all other stores types, you'll see where people have bought furnitures and bought appliances. I mean, I personally bought a new fridge during that time and a new stove, and so which my wife made me do. So that worked out well. So that those people and who were employed were, in fact, we bought ours when the place was actually closed in April of last year. So I'm sure other Bermudians also bought some additional appliances and stuff. And particularly, like I said, with the changes in the planning, encouraging people and streamlining some of the projects that in planning, it allowed people to get things done faster. When you go around Gorham's, anyone who was around Gorham's or Masters saw people packing in there, buying pengs or whatever it is, and that caused a significant bit of supplies in those areas. Okay. Cars went up significant in if I recall, was September, October, November. There was a drop off in December, but that's because they ran out of cars. So they will be having more cars coming in I believe in January and was this part of January and February, which we haven't got the numbers yet. I think that we will see a continue at least increase. Apparels have to be significantly happy. If you look at the numbers for apparels went from 67 negative in May, negative 44 in July. Put my glasses on so I can see. Then negative 22, negative 28, negative 17, negative 11, and negative 6.9. That even though there was negative, that means growth. So the pattern is going up towards what we think it should be happening. And the apparel stores and the individuals I've spoken to, particularly in the large retail and apparel stores, are very happy what is taking place.
Okay, thank you.
Tarai Trott from Bermuda Broadcasting.
Morning, Minister.
Morning.
You're encouraging residents to buy Bermuda, to shop here. I'm trying to get from you, how realistic is this call? Because we know that before the pandemic, the retail division of the Chamber repeatedly expressed concerns that residents did not appear to be heeding the Buy Bermuda message, and we're then shopping online increasingly.
That's true, and that's where I believe that we have to take responsibility for our own. I mean, everybody just stops purchasing and buying overseas. We have a serious problem. Apparel stores will close. There's no doubt about that. And so that's why I encourage people to go out there and buy from some of our stores to make things happen. You saw the government made a significant change from in 2018 and 19 budget by reducing some of the things down to 0% to encourage people to buy locally. That's why hopefully drop the prices on some of the apparel products. I know that it decreased taxes on I'll say household goods and children's clothing and those type of things to encourage people to buy from Bermuda. If people really take a look at it, sometimes you think you're getting a cheaper price, and by the time you bring it over and ship it over and everything else, it adds up pretty close. And don't take a trip telling me you're going to go buy a sweater, because at the end of the day, you got to include your trip plus your hotel. And I think people are recognizing that. And so what we're trying to do, like I said, encourage Bermudians and residents alike, take some time. I know you're going to want to spend some money overseas because you don't want everybody look like you with the same dress on. I always say the same dress. But you go out and buy some things that at the end of the day will make Bermuda and help to increase our job opportunities for Bermudans.
Meanwhile, what assurances can you give, or can the government give, that it continues to endeavor to help lower the overall cost of living, which, as you know very well, people continue to complain about every day, especially the cost of food. The last we heard last year was that government was working on legislation that would allow the sharing of data over food prices. Any progress on that?
I don't know exactly where we are on that. I can get our people to look into it. I know the statistics was working on some information in regards to that.
But what about the cost of living in general?
Yeah, as you're aware, which I'm not going to reveal at this moment, but you know we are still working on the vertical farming aspect, and that has not been closed. We're pretty close to making a decision on that, which will lower the cost of leafy greens. So we are continuously to work on things for the Bermuda public.
Thank you, Minister.
Well, thank you, members of the media, for joining us today. That concludes our press briefing. We appreciate your attention and your questions. Thank you very much,
Thank
and
you.
have a wonderful day.
Again, I'd like to thank the staff at Statistical Department. They have worked hard. As you know, some of them have been working from home, and but even after they work from home, they've been able to produce the information on a timely basis, and so we're getting the information out there. So hopefully, sometime very soon, we'll have January sales out there and other information that you can make available to see the pattern that's taking place around the island.
Okay. Thank you, Minister. Thank you.
Thank you.